In the last sessions, we have seen the biological foundations of bioinformatics. We have seen the configuration of cell. We have seen the cell structure, different classifications of cells, and more important, we have seen the DNA, RNA, and protein formation inside the cell division. So now we are going to the computational part of the bioinformatics. We see an important concept called the sequence analysis. So in the previous classes, we have seen there are different types of sequences that can be generated from a DNA from the cell nucleus. We call it as the sequences are of three classifications: the DNA sequences, the RNA sequences, and then the protein sequences. So we have seen all the alphabetical representation of these sequences, and now we think about how these sequences can be analyzed to derive some biological importance inside a cell nucleus. So suppose you are given with a DNA sequence, a long DNA sequence, and then you have given with another short DNA sequence. You are going to compare this short sequence with that of the long sequence, and you want to find some matching somewhere in the sequence. Either here these sequences are matching, or here the sequences are matching. So this is something called matching of sequences. For matching, to find a match between two sequences, we have to analyze the sequence. And so what is meant by sequence analysis? What are the different methods to achieve sequence analysis? Why sequence analysis is being required? So these are the different terms and techniques we see in this session. So why we go for sequence analysis? The first question, why sequence analysis required? So to find out the features of some sequences, to find out the functionality of some genetic representation, the structure of some molecules, or the evolution of some organisms. So all these things can be calculated from sequence analysis. So there are two methods that are based on sequence analysis, something called a sequence alignment, and some second technique is called database searches. So what is sequence analysis? Sequence alignment is what we have seen just now. A long sequence is given and a short sequence is given. You have to find where in this short sequence matches in the long sequence, in which base pairs it is matching with the long sequence. And say if it is not, there is no perfect match, then what is the percentage of equality between these two strings? So because these sequences are always represented as strings when you think about in computational terms. And another concept is called database searches. There are a lot of biological databases present in the web. And suppose a sequence is given for you, or we have using some laboratory techniques, laboratory experiments, we have sequenced particular nucleic acid or protein. Then we must find out whether this string is already present, this sequence is already present in any of these databases. There are a lot of databases like PDB, like GenBank. So in all these databases, there are all the predefined sequences are stored with all the genetic information associated with it. So whenever a new sequence is given, we may have to search in these databases to find out comparison, or to make a comparative study. So compare why this comparison is required is comparing the any new sequence to those with a non sequences with a non function is a key way of understanding the biology of an organism. And we must find out from which the organism the new sequence has been derived. For example, suppose you think about the coronavirus, and if you are given with the RNA sequence of a coronavirus, then you must find out similarity between this virus and some other virus. So if it is being originated from another virus, or if there is a similarity between two viruses, then it will be easy for us to find out the functionality, to derive some vaccines, etc. So this is where the importance of sequence analysis comes or exists. Now, sequence analysis includes the comparison of sequences as we have seen in the previous slide in order to find out some similarity. So, similar sequences are called homologous sequences, and homologous sequences will have some similarity in either in the functionality or in the evolution, or in some way these sequences are related each other. So if there is a similarity, then we can say there is some relationship between two sequences. Identification of intrinsic features of the sequence is also as a part of sequence analysis. And the same way you can find out the differences and variations among sequences by means of sequence analysis. Sequence analysis always reveals the evolution and genetic diversity of sequences and organisms. And also the identification of molecular structure from sequences alone is also possible if you have some techniques, some tools, some algorithms to perform sequence analysis. Now if you think about sequence, then you have to think about either it is DNA sequence, or it is RNA sequence, or it is protein sequence. We may have to think about the string representation of these sequences, how it is been represented as characters, because we are always think about the computation side of these sequences. So computational programs and or algorithms can be used for sequence analysis, and all these algorithms are based upon viewing the sequence in terms of some alphabetical representation or in terms of some binary representation ultimately. So for that you have to have some code, like we use ASCII code for representing characters in computers. Like that, we have to use some code for representing these sequences in string, in the form of strings or characters or text data. We use something called IUPAC code. Actually IUPAC represents the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. It was established actually in 1919, and it has derived many terms in chemistry as well as physics and some related areas. So the standardization of nomenclature in chemistry is done by this particular organization, International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. So the IUPAC code of these sequences are always important for us. If it is a DNA sequence, as we have seen in the previous classes, there are 4 nitrogen bases, and they are represented by the IUPAC code: A for adenine, C for cytosine, G for guanine, and T for thymine. And there are some other letters also representing some common bases, like for example, if you see the letter R represents the A, either A or G. So if we write an R in a sequence, it either represents the nitrogen base adenine or represents guanine, and similarly Y represents C or T. And there are like that, you have a code for each nitrogen base or a combination or a classification of nitrogen bases. So that is something called IUPAC code for DNA. Same way we have IUPAC code for RNA. Only difference is that instead of a T we represent the letter U, which represents uracil. So instead of T we use U in the IUPAC code of RNA. And in protein also you have IUPAC representation. If you see in a sequence the letters like Q, R, R for arginine, and letters like this, we say that it is the IUPAC code of amino acids. So IUPAC code has a very important functionality or representation in sequences, and this is very important when we go for something called sequence analysis and allied mechanisms. Here we have a sample DNA sequence. This we can identify as a sample DNA sequence because it has only 4 alphabets, either C, T, G or A. So there are no other characters in this sequence. So just looking at the sequence, we can identify this as a DNA sequence of maximum length 50 characters. Each character represents a base, nitrogen base, and so we can say that this DNA sequence is made up of 50 different bases. Now, in the case of string, we always see a concept called palindromes in computational algorithms. So that is present in the case of DNA sequence also. There are several sequences in DNA which are palindromes. So palindrome is actually, if you read from left to right or right to left, it will represent the same information. Then we say the string is a palindrome. Same way, DNA sequence also can have palindromes in it. That is, if you take the reading frames either from 5' to 3' end or from 3' to 5' end, it always represents the same sequences of nitrogen bases. Here I can see one example. The string or the DNA sequence GAATTC. So if we read from 5' to 3' end or from 3' to 5' end, in the other in the complementary strand, so GATTC, the complementary strand is C for G, and in parallel to A we have T, and the same way, so it represents GAATTC represents on the complementary strand CTTAAG. So reading in the 5' 3' end or reading in the 3' 5' end in the complementary strand, both the information are the same. Both represents the same sequence. So this is capable of forming a hairpin, as we have seen in this picture, like this. So where we have a loop, actually there is no palindrome over there. Rest of the sequence forms a hairpin. So palindromes are very important in DNA sequences. So this is one type of sequence analysis just to see where a palindrome is existing in a DNA sequence. And in the case of RNA sequence, reading in a certain direction, that is either from 5' to 3' or on one strand matches the sequence, reading in the same direction 5' to 3' on the complementary strand. So the template strand refers to the sequence of DNA that is copied during the synthesis of mRNA. The opposite strand, that is a strand with the base sequence directly corresponding to the mRNA sequence, is called the coding strand or the mRNA-like strand, because the sequence corresponding to the codons that are translated into the protein. here we can see a DNA sequence, how it is been converted into RNA sequence. On the other way, we can say we can computationally calculate the sequence which is been derived from a DNA sequence as RNA, just replacing all the T's by U. And from RNA sequence we can derive protein sequence by making the codons, as we have seen in the previous class, with any possible combination by taking the ORFs, and we can prepare corresponding protein sequence from the RNA sequence. So here we can see the sequences. The first one is a DNA sequence in the coding strand and opposite strand, from where we get an RNA strand, and from the RNA it codes for protein sequence. So protein sequence is actually linear sequence of amino acids, as we have seen in the previous class, and each codon represents an amino acid. RNA sequence is separated into codons first of all, and for each codon we write down the equivalent amino acid from the genetic table. We can find out which amino acid is coded from a particular codon. So we can here three different sequences are given. First sequence is DNA sequence, because only 4 letters A, G, C, T. But second sequence is clearly it is a RNA sequence, because we don't have any T's over there. We have instead U. And the last one is a protein sequence, because we have many other alphabets other than A, G, C, T and U. So if you see a sequence with other letters, other alphabets, then you may say it is a protein sequence. So DNA sequence only consists of the 4 basic alphabets A, G, C and T. RNA sequence consists of A, G, C and U, and protein sequences the 20 amino acids. So this is the concept of sequence analysis, or the sequence representation of the nucleic acid.